Hello everyone, very good morning and welcome back once again to your favorite channel, that is StudyIQ English. My name is Praveen Mishra and we are going to start the today's session, that is the Hindu analysis, date being 14th of April 2025. Okay, so what are the things, what are the headlines for us that is important with regard to the UPSC, CSE, prelims as well as mains both? Okay, so here we go with the start of the first news. Another problem the Indian society as a nation as a whole, what we are facing is another riots, another sparking tensions here. That is, once again, it's the location of Murshidabad. So if you have watched our previous current affairs videos, okay, so there you must have realized, okay, that we have already discussed, must have realized or is in, you must have watched that we have discussed in depth about the crisis or the communal violence that have been taking place inside the district of Murshidabad, that is West Bengal. Right? So what is the problem? The problem is with regard to the Waqf board only. Right? How the Waqf board is creating, how the Waqf board amendment act is creating much amount of ruckus. That is something which is obviously troubling the local economy and the local people's life. So with the fresh updates, right, what we have got, that is the CAPF has been deployed in Murshidabad to control the situation. Okay, the statement has come from the DGP, that is the Director General of Police of West Bengal itself, right? So we know it very well that when it comes to the deployment of CAPF, that is Central Armed Police Forces, then obviously things are going a way ahead or something we are considering that we are loosening the grip of the normalcy. And the question here that arises is with regard to the continuous internet shutdowns we are facing in our country. Right? When we talk about the report that we have already discussed in that previous session of current event that was aired yesterday itself, where we have discussed about the report given by an organization, that is a private organization, not for profit, non-governmental, that is Access Now. What Access Now has stated: the world in the previous year, that is 2024 itself, has witnessed nearly 290 plus of the internet shutdowns, and out of which around 85, not around, exactly 85 of them, they have been imposed in our India. Yes, if you think it is Jammu and Kashmir with highest number of internet shutdowns, then unfortunately you are wrong this time. The highest number of internet shutdowns as regard to the Access Now's report was happening inside the state of Manipur, nearly 41 of the times, right? Now, the second one, you would be of the opinion that, okay, this time it would be Kashmir. Second one, yes, this time also it's wrong. This is not even Kashmir at the second stage. It was the state of Haryana that has witnessed the second most number of internet shutdowns. And the third one was followed by Kashmir, right? So, yes, Manipur, once again, we know it that yes, since last couple of years or maybe 3 years, what we can say, it's undergoing huge turmoil, huge big amount of violence and clashes happening between the Kuki and the Meiti communities. And yes, the next thing, Haryana. Why Haryana has faced such amount of internet shutdowns? So it's not just with regard to the communal violence. It's also something that is related to the maintenance of internal security, related to the examination security protocols, and apart from that, the protest that the people have been also taking ahead with regard to the demands over maybe reservation or maybe water supply, road construction, etc., etc. Right? So that is the point here that we need to discuss, that internet shutdowns doesn't always comes only from just one perspective or one point of view, that is going ahead for the sake of elimination of the clashes or restoring the peace. Sometimes it also comes on the grounds of stopping the protest. And secondly, it is also coming on the grounds of providing security with regard to the examinations, government level, central or state level, whatsoever. Security, or in fact, just going ahead with the transparency of the completion of examinations. Right? So remember, guys, the name of the report, it is the company or the organization Access Now. The report is titled as the World Internet Shutdowns. Okay. The highest number. What is the another data that is heartbreaking? What is the another data that is threatening to our sovereignty as well as internal security features? Is highest number of internet shutdowns in the year 2024 was witnessed by the country of Myanmar. Okay, Myanmar deserves it, as because what is right now going on inside Myanmar, that is a military coup. And because of that particular political turmoil, obviously there have been n number of clashes. And when we consider the military junta there, the junta or the janta, however it is pronounced. So yes, obviously the state or the condition of Myanmar is not going good enough. Not normalcy is there. No such amount of peace and tranquility is available there. So it deserves the 41 number of, or maybe even more of the internet shutdowns. What's the problem here with us in India? Are we not living in a society that is, spiced or just traded with the security, harmony, fraternity, and so on things? Why are we the country which is second rank when it comes to the global internet shutdowns? This is alarming. And yes, this alarm is not false in nature. Alarm, it is telling us that something is not going right with regard to the social fabric, with regard to the concept of bhaichara, that is fraternity. Things are disturbing. And what's the correct option, or what's the correct remedy to just eliminate such sort of evils from the nation? Ultimately, that is also troubling the national growth as a whole, not just the state's growth or the region's growth or the people's growth of one particular locality, but the territory of the country as a whole. Right, it's disturbing the principles of supply chain demand, the supply and the demand chain equilibrium, what we call it in economy, right? So it is troubling the nation as a whole, not just one particular territory, right? So this is where the another news has come from Murshidabad. Why there is a protest? Why do I have always go to just opt out of the violent protest? So considering or mentioning here Article 19 of our fundamental rights. So here, a very interesting question for us. Okay, very, very interesting. Okay. Do we have anywhere in our constitution protest word mentioned? Guys, please make the question very clearly, okay? So here we have the question. Is right to protest mentioned in the constitution? Mentioned in the Indian constitution. What do you think is the correct answer? Is constitution providing us with the freedom of protest? Come on, anyone who can answer? There are many people live here, those who can answer. Come on. Quickly, please. Do we have any such element of right to protest in our constitution? Does it provide us with any sort of guarantee? Yes or no? What's the correct answer, guys, please? Well, the answer is yes and no both. As in, right to protest, the word right to protest is nowhere mentioned. Okay, but something related to it has been mentioned. Okay, what is the answer? Answer should be yes and no at the same time. Okay, how? As in, right to protest. The constitution framers, they didn't opted this phrase, that is right to protest. Okay, it is not mentioned, against which they have mentioned right to assemble. Right to assemble peacefully. Peacefully, as in the reasonable restrictions, they are also mentioned with the same article. Without arms. Without arms, as in without ammunition. Okay. So make it clear. Okay. The statement should be clear. Right to protest word is nowhere mentioned in our constitution. Okay. Literally nowhere. What is mentioned, in fact? Right to assemble peacefully. And the logic of reasonable restriction is added with the same line. Okay. That is right to assemble peacefully, but on a condition without arms and ammunitions. Okay. There should be no arms and ammunitions involved. Okay. So this is how the constitution has provided us the liberty to protest. Okay. And Unfortunately, what we are watching, the protests these days, unfortunately, once again, they are not happening on a peaceful note. Yep, absolutely not. And so that's why it is happening that now in the district of Murshidabad, West Bengal region, the DGP police was compelled to call for the CAPF. Okay. So guys, please, if you haven't watched the video that was aired yesterday with regard to the fresh violence or the clashes inside the district of Murshidabad, West Bengal, so I suggest please go to the channel after the session has ended, okay, and go to the video section. You'll find the video. Please have a look over it, and there the Access Now report as well as the Amnesty International report on India's stability, on India's social fabric has been also discussed in depth in detail. Right? So this is the first headline for us. Now we move forward to the next headline, the next news. It's the triumph for the state of Kerala. If the state of West Bengal is burning with clashes, then on the opposite side, moving from the eastern coast towards the western coast here, we have got the wonderful location that is Kerala, another wonderful location apart from West Bengal, that is God's own country, that is Kerala. And here, if you are a Keralite or a person living in Kerala, the resident of Kerala, right? So it's a matter of triumph for you. Contrasting emotions here. People in West Bengal, the same country that is India, they are under stress of violence, under fear of violence, right? But parallelly, from moving from the eastern coast to the west coast, when we move ahead, okay, we have got another country, another state, sorry, okay, which is having the joy of getting inducted itself into the tag of the first ever nation that is considered to be absolutely digital educated or digitally literate, right? Okay, so all logged in. Kerala to be declared fully digitally literate, right? So guys, to all the Keralites, okay, grand salute. Wonderful going. Kerala became the first state of our country to be fully literate. And the very same state of Kerala has become the very first country again to be becoming digitally fully literate. Right? So 100% digital literacy has been recorded in the state of Kerala. Okay, that's the God's own country. Right? Yes, Kerala, the state which has already faced a number of criticism with regard to the concepts of the international forces active there and destroying the inner peace and the fraternity of the state with regard to the organizations of ISIS. There have been, instances where we have seen that how ISIS is the type of an organization, a terrorist organization basically, which is most violently and aggressively active inside our state of Kerala. And n number of religious conversions and the people that are being, brainwashed or something like that, manipulated, and they are taken to across border of the nations, okay, across border in Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and so on. And they are compelled to be either the sex slaves or they are either compelled to be the part of the militant groups from Lashkar to Al Qaeda to ISIS to ISIL and so on. Yes, the state has faced a number of criticism with regard to those things. But ultimately, yes, the state is itself trying the best to overcome such issues. And one such attempt is here in front of us. That is what Kerala has now become the first ever country in our, the first ever state in our country to be recorded or to be tagged as 100% fully digital literate. Right? So all logged in. Basically, this is what the writer has to state, that everyone in Kerala is now able to access the internet or the usage of it as well. And another matter of joy, another news coming from the Kerala itself, that is a temple which was yet till day before yesterday was not open for each and every community in Kerala, Hindu community in Kerala specifically. But now it has taken up the joy of being a temple that is open for each and every community, Hindu community in the Kerala. Right? So moving to the next news. The next news is again here with regard to the state of Kerala. Okay, and what is the news here? So Kerala temple opens sacred space to all sections. Right? So as what we can go ahead with the news, the name of the temple when you talk about, okay. So here, in a landmark move, devotees from communities entered the Nalam Balam. Okay, Nalam Balam. It is what? A sacred location that is basically a temple. So guys, please mark the location Nalam Balam. What is that? The sacred inner quarter of the centuries old Pilikod Raya. Okay, so what is that? Pilikod Raya Ramangalam Temple in the Kasargod district of Kerala. So guys, if you are someone from Kasargod district of Kerala, so another joy for you, right? So you know, you might be aware if you are there from there, that is, there is a very famous temple. What is the name of the temple? Pilikod Raya Ramangalam Temple. Okay, and inside there is a sanctum, okay, the very pious place that is termed as what? Nalam Balam. Okay, so Nalam Balam, that is basically the Garbhagriha or the sanctum of the temple, temple being the Pilikod Raya Ramangalam temple, okay, where Kasargod, that is Kerala once again. Okay, now this brings us to the discussion. As today we are paying homage and tribute to one of the greatest personalities of the India's freedom struggle, as well as the champions of the social reform movement in India, specifically when it comes to the scheduled caste or the marginalized communities or the depressed classes. Once upon a time, they were termed as Harijan by M.K. Gandhiji, but later this guy transformed the name, that he said that no, Harijan is something that is not much correct to be mentioned, and the actual word should be Dalits. And yes, the name stands as Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, born in the Mao region, Mao village, a very small village of another wonderful state, that is Madhya Pradesh, right, on 14th of April 1891. So, yes, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, or the modern Manu, or the architect of the Indian Constitution, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. So who was he? He was someone who was just struggling and hustling for the social reforms, that is establishing equality among the citizens, among the Indians, that is eliminating the features or the elements of caste-based discrimination from the roots, from the grassroots. Unfortunately, he and his principles are yet to be succeeded, are yet, even after his demise, even after almost 70 years of his demise, we are still yet to provide him the tag that yes, his principles and he succeeded in uprooting and vanishing out the caste-based discrimination. But ultimately, he is the one who had the guts, who had the courage to start a revolution, to start a movement and be the voices of the millions, those who are considered Dalits or the suppressed, or yes, the most pathetic word here as well, untouchables, right? Why do I have to consider someone as untouchable? Isn't it not a big question mark and a shame on me as well, right? So Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and to tribute to Baba Saheb Ambedkar, what we have got, the news as well, that is now whatever caste I belong to, not an issue. I can enter the main sanctum that is named as Nalambalam. Okay, and where is this sanctum that is Nalambalam? It is in the Piligod Raya Ramangalam temple in the Kasargod district of the God's own country, that is Kerala, right? So this has also led us to have a discussion over the next point, that is the temple entry. If I am denying any single individual from entering into a temple, forget temple, any place, right? If I'm denying that, listen, dude, you belong to this community or a race or place of birth or a gender or a sex or a religion, and hence you cannot enter this location. Isn't it not discrimination? It is, indeed it is. Absolutely. So, how am I going to overcome this? And how are these things being the absolute grave violation of my constitution? So let's discuss a case that has sparked much of the controversy, and Supreme Court came into the rescue in the year 2018. What is the name of the case? So it was famously termed as the Sabrimala case. Sabrimala temple case. Once again, it was in the state of Kerala only, right? What is the name? Sabrimala temple case. What is the year? 2018, right? What was the case? Let me tell you. The case was the women, specifically those who are aged between 10 to 50, basically those who are inside their menstrual cycle, in their menstruating period. They were considered impure or unpious, okay, and hence they were not allowed to enter the premises of the Sabrimala temple. How illogical, right? Absolutely. And hence, it was the grave violation of what? It was the violation of Article 14. Along with Article 14, Article 15 was being violated. And apart from that, yes, it was an act of untouchability. Article 17 was being violated. It was also violation towards my fundamental right guaranteed under Article 21. It was also violation of my Article 25, right to religion. Again, it was violation to my Article 26. So one single event of denying the entry in one particular location, as you can see, how many fundamental rights altogether it is disturbing, it is violating, right? So how many? As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for which Supreme Court in the year 2016, while delivering the judgment, stated that. Here, the Supreme Court quoted, under Article 25, Clause 2, Subclause B. Guys, please be very specific with the article numbers, right? Under Article 25, Clause 2, Subclause B. What is written? Okay, see here, what is written? What are the exact words of the clause of the article? All Hindu religious institutions, okay? All Hindu religious institutions of public character, not private, public actually, okay, should be open for all the classes and sections of Hindus. Right? This is what Article 25, Clause 2, Subclause B has clearly mentioned. Clearly. Okay, not indirectly. Direct words are here. That all Hindu religious institutions of public character shall be open. Okay? For whom? For all the classes and sections of Hindus. That is coming from any gender, coming from any race, coming from any particular caste, community, class, etc., etc. Okay, so the umbrella term has been mentioned here. All the classes and sections. Okay, whatsoever the classes, whatsoever the section is, it should be open, right? And no one shall be denied. So Sabrimala temple was one such event. And before that, we had got such event in the Maharashtra state as well with regard to the Shani Shingnapur temple near Pune. Okay. So now the next one that has come into the picture, it is here, that is the Kasargod region. Okay. What is the name of the temple? Pilikod Raya Ramangalam temple. And what is the name of the sanctum? It is once again here, that is Nalam Balam. Okay. So this is now once again the matter of joy and triumph that we are trying our best, specifically from the state of Kerala, to eliminate this caste-based discrimination. And this caste-based discrimination is something that has troubled the nation as a whole, the growth and development of the nation as a whole. And now here, another event that we can mark here, that is the Kerala temple opens sacred space to all the sections. Okay, and once again, which article is here into the picture? Article 25, Clause 2, Subclause B. Okay, that is right to religion. So moving to the next news, next headline for the day, the Supreme Court scheduled caste subcategorization into 3 groups takes effect in Telangana from today. Right? Got it? Here it is not about, in case if you are getting mistaken, that do we have any creamy layer inside the scheduled caste communities now? No, that's a mistake. It's nothing such as the creamy layer. Okay, we're not dealing with something that is creamy layer. Okay, we have just for the first time in the history of our country, we have provided subcategorization of scheduled castes in our country. Okay, for the first time it is happening, and where it has happened, once again, the triumph goes to the southern kingdom, the southern parts of the country, that is the state of Telangana, the very freshly built state of Telangana. Though not so fresh, but yes, almost 11 years have gone. But yeah, one of the freshly built states, right? So the state of Telangana will be implementing the subcategorization of scheduled castes, and how many categories or how many groups they have been created? 3 of them. Okay, so as we can see, the whole news, the whole scenario, what it tells us. Okay, so the categorization of the scheduled caste communities into 3 groups will take effect in Telangana from Monday onwards, that is from today. A cabinet subcommittee headed by Irrigation and Civil Supplies Minister, okay, co-chaired by Health Minister of the state, convened the message. Right, so this is what the cabinet's decision is. The cabinet has already stated it. Now, the formal release and what are the features, as we can go ahead with the proper features. So the first group, okay, the first group, it comprises of nearly 15 subcastes that were the most backward and mandated nearly 3.28% of the SC population. So the first one is the group, okay, that is nearly 3.28% of the SCs in the state, okay, and they are provided with 1% of the reservation. Okay, the second group comprising nearly 18 subcastes, okay, and it is somewhere near to 62.74% of the total population. Okay, and in of the total population, and they are given a benefit of 9% reservation. The third group, that is with nearly 26 subcastes and constitute 33.96% of the population, okay, they are to be given 5% reservation. Okay, so 1%, 9% and 5%, okay, it is how the division had take place into the subcategories of the scheduled castes. But in which state? In the state of Telangana, okay. So percentage wise and categorization wise, so we have got 3, and how many of them? As you can see, 15, okay, then 18, and then we have got 26, right? So nearly what we can see, 26 plus 18 plus 15. Now, what is the constitutional scenario to it? Do we have any Supreme Court judgment to substitute this point, okay, to substantiate or support this action of the Telangana government? Yes. Is it constitutionally valid? Is it constitutionally legal? Yes, it is constitutionally valid as well as legal, both on the same lines, right? So here we go. What do we need to discuss? As you can see, the Supreme Court of India, in review judgment of the Punjab, okay, in review judgment of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, delivered a landmark verdict. What is the verdict? Allowing states the authority to subclassify the reserved category groups such as the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for the purpose of reservation. And what was the name of the judgment? Okay, so this was the judgment 2004, E.V. Chinnaya versus the state of Andhra Pradesh. So guys, the case reference is very, very important. E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, okay, was the case, okay, which reference you need to mark out for the sake of providing the constitutional validity of the subcategorizations of the scheduled caste in the state of Telangana, right? So according to the 2004 judgment, or according to the 2004 case judgment, what is the name? E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra. Does states or the states, do they have been provided only to subcategorize the scheduled caste communities? Like that, only the scheduled caste community? No. Scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribes. Okay, so states, they have got the constitutional, that is the legal authority to go ahead with the subcategorization. Subcategorization of what? The scheduled caste community as well as the scheduled tribes community. What is the name? What is the case's reference? Okay, what is the case reference here? So EV Chennaiya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, right? So please make the notes very carefully. Okay, so the next big thing here, sub-classification permitted, right? The court ruled that, the court as in the Supreme Court, ruled that the states are constitutionally allowed to sub-classify the SCs and STs based on varying levels of backwardness. Okay, based on what? The varying level of backwardness, right? The 7-judge bench ruled that the states can now sub-classify SCs within the 15% reservation quota. Okay, so a maximum of 15% of the reservation quota is to be given, right? Okay, so what is the cap? Subclassification, how much percentage? 15% only, right? It should not exceed how much? 15% of the quota, right? That's the basic simple thing Supreme Court has stated in the EV Chennaiya versus State of Andhra Pradesh ruling 2004. Okay. Yes, good morning guys. All clear? Subclassification. Okay, it is legally permitted. Yes, once again, the name of the case, EV Chennaiya versus State of Andhra. Can classify, states can classify the SCs as well as STs. Okay, apart from that, what should be the maximum classification quota? Okay, reservation quota. Okay, per category. It should not exceed how much? 15%. Okay, that's it. Moving to the next point. The court classified that, or literally clarified that, 100% reservation for any subclass is not permissible. Okay, the clear-cut judgment, okay, the clarification was given by the Honorable Supreme Court itself, that is 100% reservation for any subclass is literally nowhere into the permissible list, right? So the state's decision on subclassification are subject to judicial review as well. If any state has provided any subclassification, like for example, this time it is the state of Andhra Pradesh and they have gone for the subclassification, and now can the judiciary take a review over it, whether the subclassification has been performed on a legal note or not? Then yes, Supreme Court can take the review over it. Okay, so Supreme Court ruled that the creamy layer principle previously applied only to the backward classes, as through the case of Indira Sahni, okay, should now also be applied to SCs and STs. Okay, so now even if I go ahead with the provision of creamy layer, okay, applying creamy layer in the SCs and ST communities, then also it's legally constitutionally valid. There is no bar on the state governments as well as the central government, okay, to implement the principles or the provisions of creamy layer inside SC and ST community. Okay, both. But yes, so far till date, okay, we haven't applied any such principles of creamy layer inside the SC/ST community. But yes, constitutionally, it has been permitted as well by the judiciary in the year 1992, okay, through the famous Mandal Commission case or the Indira Sahni versus Union of India case, right? Okay. So here we go with the next news, the next headline, the next topic. 1,978 boats, sorry, how many? 1,978 boats, they have been anchored. Where? Inside Vizag region of Andhra Pradesh. For next 61 days. Okay, how many days? For next 61 days, that is starting from today till 14th of June. The fishermen, they are not allowed to go ahead with their mechanized boats for the sake of fishing, okay, inside the coastal regions, okay, the judgment has came forward, okay, through the Andhra Pradesh government. Okay, so a total of 1,978 boats will be anchored along with the 24-kilometer long coastline of Vishakhapatnam, okay, between Bhimli and Yerada beaches. Okay, so the two locations for us, okay, Bhimli and Yerada. So we need to mark this, Yerada beach and Bhimli beach. Where are they? They are inside another beautiful state, Andhra Pradesh, right? But the problem is, don't you think so? It's injustice to the fishermen. Is it not troubling their income? Is it not something which is, refraining them from their livelihood and right to livelihood? Article 21, 41, 42, right? It is everywhere mentioned. Article 39, okay? Article 19. So, 2 articles from Constitution's fundamental rights, 3 articles from our Constitution's DPSP segment. Isn't it not a violative of such feature? Okay, that I'm asking no for next 61 days, dear fishermen, between Bhimli and the Yavada beaches, that is one of the rich fishing grounds as well. You are not allowed, okay, just anchor your boat here, okay, and stay down as it is troubling the marine ecosystem. Though, yes, an action is very affirmative in order to prevent the overexploitation of the marine species and the ecosystem, considering the natural balance. Yes, the action is affirmative, no doubt in that. But ultimately, on the parallel side, it is also injustice to the poor fishermen, right? So, in order to overcome this injustice, in order to just eliminate these elements of injustice, what the Andhra Pradesh government has came forward? Andhra Pradesh government has came forward with a scheme, okay, that is known as Matsya Kara Bharosa scheme. The YSR Matsya Kara Bharosa scheme. Okay, guys, make it clear. Okay, Matsya Kara Bharosa scheme is where inside the state of Andhra Pradesh, it will be providing financial aid to the fishermen during the period of the annual ban on the marine fishing. So each fisherman family is entitled to receive rupees 10,000 as a direct benefit, providing them with the support during the ban period and ensuring a sustainable livelihood. Yes, the ban is injustice and it is the duty of the state, right? All the organs of the democratic state, it is the duty to provide them with the, elements of justice. The provisions of justice shall be prevailing as according to the principles of preamble as well. Okay, so for this, the state government has taken another cognitive action as well. And what is this cognitive action? Providing them with rupees 10,000 of the monthly benefit. It is monthly in nature, first of all, right? Rupees 10,000 of the direct benefit to all the fishermen, those who are facing, okay, livelihood concerns with regard to the ban over the fishing between the Bhimli and Yavada beaches of the Andhra Pradesh, right? Okay, guys, so for which we have also got the absolute this freedom, okay, now the absolute implementation of justice as well. Okay, I think this reservation is not the first of its kind. The Tamil Nadu government implemented the 3% internal reservation for Arunath areas within the scheduled caste quota of 18% in 2008. Okay, dear Elgin, thanks for the insights. Okay, I shall surely consider it and really thank you once again. Okay, it's very much in detail and very much not so prevalent information. Okay, so yeah, nice one. Okay, so it is 3% and specifically for what? Specifically for Arundhati viewers. Okay, nice. But though, Elgin, are you sure what you have stated? That's fine. But here the news is with regard to the sub-classification, right? Did sub-classification at that time in the year 2008 took place? Just please get this clarity as well, because I'm not so sure over this point. Okay, if you are, so please just let me know that as well. Okay, if you can tell me now, or else you can tell me in the next sessions as well, or after the session has ended into the comment box. Okay, but yeah, nice one, Elgin. Good going. So this is what Matsya Kara Bharosa scheme. Okay, Andhra Pradesh, 10,000 rupees. Okay, as the direct benefit to the farmers, or sorry, to the fishermen affected due to the banning of the fishing. So here we go to the next news, to the next topic here. And once again, grand salute to the Army, to the Navy, to the Air Force, to all of the armed forces, that is basically the military, the defense institution of our country. Okay, so what is the news? DRDO tests laser weapon system that can disable missiles and drones. And before entering into the topic, yesterday only we discussed another, yesterday not, day before yesterday actually, on Saturday evening, we had a session together, right, in which we were discussing about the drone terrorism, right, the drone terrorism, how the not so good neighborhood of our country, China and Pakistan, they are using drones now to smuggle the illegal arms and ammunition along with other type of drugs, psychotropic substances, okay, in India. So with regard to these drone terrorism, what we have got the news that BSF officers, they have provided the reports that just by January 2025, just by January 2025, okay, more than 60 drones, they tried to enter the Indian territory and they were neutralized by the Braveheart soldiers as well, specifically from the team of BSF, Border Security Force, right? Just in the year January, just in the month of January 2025, that is 3 months back. How many drones? 60 drones. Like every day on an average, they were sending 2 drones, right? Pakistanis. 2 drones that were carrying either the psychotropic substances, that is any sort of drugs, okay, that are illegal obviously, and secondly, they were either carrying the arms and ammunition as well, from guns to grenades to IEDs and so on, okay. So the BSF soldiers, they have been very affirmative in these actions as well, and obviously the soldiers, we need not display the facts that how brave they are, Indian soldiers specifically, right? So they have neutralized all those drones that were coming to the Indian territory illegally by the western borders, okay, from the western borders, that is by Pakistan, okay. So what technology they have used? So they have used a laser gun. What was the name of that laser gun? It was Dronam. If you remember, if you have watched that session as well, okay, just on Saturday evening we had it, okay. So Dronam laser gun was given to the soldiers, okay, and through that Dronam laser gun, our soldiers, they were eliminating or neutralizing all such type of drones. And now, just to provide more boost to the border security, our fantastic organization, a fantabulous organization, that is DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, it has successfully, yes, the matter of joy here, successfully they have tested what? The laser weapon system that can literally disable the missiles as well as the drones. Okay, so as you can see, this is a weapon which is not having any sort of, blasting elements. Okay, no RDX, no IDs type of things, nothing. It is, okay, carrying what? Laser. Okay, so it has been armored with the laser technology that will be sufficient enough to neutralize the missiles as well as the drones. And what the DRDO has stated, the most wonderful thing that I must quote here, that firing one particular laser, okay, firing one particular this DEW, DEW it is what called as, costs not more than 2 to 3 liters or 4 liters of petrol. Okay, so let's say petrol is some 100 rupees per liter. So operating it in one particular operation, okay, will be costing not more than 4 or 5 liters of petrol, equivalent to the amount of 4 or 5 liters of petrol. Let's say 500, 600 rupees or 1,000 rupees. So this is what the pocket-friendly thing that is now created indigenously, absolutely indigenously by our fantastic organization that is DRDO. Okay, so what are the features? What are the names actually? What we need to discuss here. So as you can see here, DRDO on Sunday announced the successful trial of MK2A. So what's the name here? MK2 in Roman numbers A, right? MK2 2A, basically directed energy weapon, that is DEW. Okay, this is coming from the family of DEW, that is directed energy weapon. Okay, so directed energy weapon system, mastering the technology of disabling missiles, drone and other smaller projectiles. Okay, so we have got the missiles, drones as well as other modern projectiles that we can eliminate or neutralize using the DEW. Okay, direct energy weapon. And yes, what is the name of this particular DEW? It is MK2A. Remember, this is 2 in Romans. Okay, so what is the cost of firing? Cost of firing is for a few seconds is equivalent to the cost of a couple of liters of petrol. Okay, and here DRDO was referring that how cheap it could be and how good it could be to the exchequer's pocket, right? So this is how what is the DEW is, that is the direct energy weapon. Okay, laser enabled, and yes, the name here of this particular weapon is MK2A. Developed by whom? Developed indigenously by our Defense Research and Development Organization, right? Okay, so the smiling faces, right? God, please keep these smiling faces all alive. This is the people of Myanmar. As you can see, the innocent kid, she's enjoying the splash of water. The state of Myanmar since last 4 years, utmost amount of violence and the people's life, property, future, everything at stake. Something to cheer for them here, something to be, delighted for. That is what a very famous festival. What is the name of the festival? Okay, that is Thingyan. Okay, Thingyan, just like what we celebrate Diwali, Holi in our country. Okay, in the very same way that this is the name. I guess it's not visible to you. Okay, it is Thingyan. So what is Thingyan? Just like Holi is to India, okay, just this very same way, Thingyan is to Myanmar. Okay, so this is what is the name of the festival? Thingyan, Thingyan. Okay, so this is what the people, they are splashing waters over each other, marking the end of the harsh winters and welcoming the summers. Okay, just the same way in the month of March in India, we do celebrate Holi in the northern parts as well as the southern parts, along with other branches of the festival like Pongal, okay, or even Baisakhi, right? So in the very same sense, in the month of April in Myanmar, people, they do celebrate what? People, they do celebrate the Thingyan festival, okay? Now, moving to the next news, the next topic here. India-Africa Maritime Engagement Exercise has begun, okay, at the Tanzania coast, right? So guys, the first and the foremost thing that you need to mark with this particular news is the location, okay? What is the location? Location is Dar es Salaam. Where is Dar es Salaam? Dar es Salaam is here, that is in Tanzania, right? And what is going on? Okay, a military or the naval exercise between India and some of the African nations are going on. How many African nations basically? So you can see the name. Okay, it is Comoros, Djibouti, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Mozambique, Seychelles, and South Africa. Okay, so it will be India along with Tanzania, which will be co-hosting. Co-hosting what? What is the name? Name is IKME. IKME as in Africa India key military exercise. Okay, so Africa India military exercise, that is IKME, hosting, okay, in Tanzania. The co-host is Tanzania as well as we, that is India, along with other African nations. What are they? Djibouti, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, a littoral state there, Mozambique, Seychelles, another littoral state, and South Africa. Okay, along with us, that is India. And yes, the other host country that is hosting the locality as well, that is Tanzania. And what is the location? The location is Dar es Salaam. Okay, what is that? Africa, India, key maritime. Okay, Africa, India, key maritime engagement. That is IKME, right? So, how many Indian naval ships they are participating? So, first of all, we have got the INS Sunyana. Okay, it is designated as Indian Ocean Ship Sagar. So, which Indian Ocean ship is designated as Sagar? So, you have the name INS Sunyana is designated as Indian Ocean Ship Sagar, IOS Sagar. Okay, so we have got many Indian Ocean ships, right? But the term Sagar is used for just one ship, and what is that? INS Sunyana. So, along with INS Sunyana, what are the other naval ships of India that are participating in IKME? So it will be the INS Chennai, that is a destroyer ship in nature, and INS Kesari, that is a landing ship in nature. Okay, so they have landed where? They have ported there at Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. So from India side, we have got three. INS Sunyana, that is tagged or labeled as the Indian Ocean ship Sagar. Apart from that, INS Chennai, a destroyer ship, and apart from that, a lander ship as well, that is the INS Kesari. So, the fact that you remember, that you need to remember from this news, the first one, what is that? IKME, that is Africa India Key Maritime Engagement. Okay, happening between India and Tanzania. We are the co-hosts, and apart from that, other states they are also participating from Africa and littoral areas. Okay, then what is the location? The location is Dar es Salaam. Okay, Dar es Salaam actually, where? Tanzania. How many Indian naval ships are participating there? The three of the Indian naval ships they are participating. Who are they? It is first one, Indian Ocean ship Sagar, that is basically INS Sunyana. Okay, apart from that, the destroyer ship, that is INS Chennai. Okay, and the third one will be the landing one, that is INS Kesari. Okay, guys, so these are the features with regard to the IKME. So next and the last news here for us. Okay, before that, the features that have been mentioned here: Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. So this IKME is part of India's Sagar program as well, launched by the Prime Minister of India, that is by India itself, in the year 2015. So what is the vision of Sagar? What is the full form of Sagar? First of all, security and growth for all in the region. Okay, so basically it is focusing where? It is focusing on increasing recognition of the increasing importance of maritime security, maritime commons and cooperation. And through Sagar, we seek to deepen economic and security cooperation with its maritime neighbors and assist in building their maritime security capabilities. Okay, so from Project Mausam to Project Sagar or even Mahasagar, okay, we have just used the policy of the security and growth for all in the region, okay, and implementing a particular figure, okay, or representing a particular figure or a thought, that is, we are committed for the growth, for the collaborated growth, for the integrated growth of the world as a whole, specifically when it comes to the security of the Indian Ocean region that bypasses the region of Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific, that is the most wealthiest location what we have got, right? Okay. So coming to the point here, the key relevance of Sagar emerges when seen in conjunction with the India's other maritime policies. Like say, for example, we have got the Act East policy with the Southeast. We have got the Project Sagarmala, that is 7,516 kilometers of the coastline. We have to create most number of ports, okay, that can be used for the commercial as well as naval purposes. Apart from that, we have got Project Mausam, that is related to the World Meteorological Department as well as the Indian Meteorological Department, and identifying all the maritime related natural disasters. Okay, and yes, we have also got to mention here the blue economy. Okay, so the Sagar, Mahasagar, Sagarmala, Mausam, they also focus where? They focus on the growth and development of the blue economy. Now, what is blue economy? An economy that is surfacing or growing because of the resources of the marine ecosystem. Okay, that is through the seas and ocean. So whatsoever we earn through the resources that we have extracted or exploited from the seas and oceans, okay, that particular economy is labeled as what? Is labeled as blue economy. Okay, right? So here we have the next one, the last one into today's analysis class, that is the wealth tax. What do we understand by the term wealth tax, and what is the news first of all? So France has stated that we as a nation, we want to implement wealth tax permanently. Okay, what? France wants to make wealth tax permanently, right? That means so far yet wealth tax was not permanent. In fact, wealth tax is not everywhere permanent, and in fact wealth tax is not even prevalent in India. It used to be till 2016, but through the budget of 2016, wealth tax has been abolished, right? So now this brings us to the discussion, what is this wealth tax? Here we go. So for the first time, it was introduced in Switzerland in 1840, followed by Netherlands in 1892, and then lastly in Sweden in 1911. Not lastly as in, these are the first three countries. So Switzerland, the first one, 1840, Netherlands, 1892, and the Sweden in 2011. Oh, sorry, 1911, sorry. Okay. 1911 looks like 9/11, but yeah, it's 1911. Okay. So in India, the wealth tax was introduced in 1957, okay, by T.T. Krishnamachari, but was abolished in 2015 due to low revenue collection and high administrative costs. The government stated that collecting land revenue costs more as compared to the revenue we have gained. Okay, so for example, in collecting the wealth tax, we have to spend nearly 100 rupees. And what is the amount we are receiving? It is 90 rupees. So citing this region, okay, the government or the finance ministry through the representation of budget of 2016 and 17 abolished the principles or the features of wealth tax from Indian economy. Okay, so globally the number of OECD countries levying wealth tax dropped from 12 in 1990 to just 4 in 2017 owing to similar challenges. Okay, that is collecting. Specifically, wealth tax was a type of a tax which was prevalent mostly in the OECD countries, right? But the feature here is now just 4 of the OECD countries, okay, they are going ahead with the collection of the wealth tax. And the features or the reasons, they have been cited the same. That is collection, okay, the amount of collection that is to be spent is more than the amount collected. Okay, so what is basically a wealth tax? This is what the basic thing, wealth tax, the basic definition. So it's a levy, basically a tax on the net wealth of the individuals, typically including assets like real estate, gold, investment and luxury items, but not on the liabilities. Wealth tax is imposed only on the assets and not on the liabilities. Okay, so it aims to reduce inequality by redistributing wealth and raising funds for welfare programs. So if you are a billionaire, okay, so on you wealth tax would be imposed, right? But yes, don't worry, now it's no more in India. So the principal legislation after Indian independence in 1947 came from the Indian Income Tax Act of 1961. Okay, so in 1955 a committee was established to look for the wealth tax. Okay, and what was the name of the committee? Okay, so the Wealth Tax Act, WTO, was introduced in 1957 through the T.T. Krishnamachari committee, through the Kaldor committee. Okay, what is the name of the committee? Please mark this thing here. The Kaldor committee. Okay, though it was initiated by T.T. Krishnamachari, okay, but as a legislation, it came through the recommendations of Kaldor committee. And when it provided its report, the report was provided in the year 1955. And a legislation was made, okay, that is the Wealth Tax Act, okay, but it was properly legislated through the Income Tax Act of 1961. Okay, so there are two particular legislations with regard to the wealth tax. The first one is the Wealth Tax Act Okay, and apart from that, the Income Tax Act, wealth tax feature was also added through the in the Income Tax Act of 1961. Okay, and the Wealth Tax Act, it is now no more. Okay, so don't worry, even if you are a billionaire, you need not pay the wealth tax. Okay, it has been abolished through the 2015. Okay, by the time period of 2015. Okay, guys, so that's it from my side today in this The Hindu Analysis. Okay, date being 14th of April. And please stay tuned with the channel, as in the very short span of time, we are going to have a session where we will be discussing about the achievements and the actions of the personality to whom we are paying tribute. That is B.R. Ambedkar, Bhim Rao Ambedkar, or the Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Okay, guys. So please do not forget to subscribe to our Study IQ English channel, made just for one purpose, that is to serve you, okay, with the most quality and quantity of the content regarding your UPSC CSE, that is Civil Services Examination. And if there is any doubt, you need to consult with me. Okay, so we have got two platforms to be connected. The first one is the Instagram and the other one being the Telegram. Okay, so on Telegram you can just go ahead and search the channel name study_with_Praveen. Okay, and on Telegram you can just go ahead and search with the username, okay, that is Praveen Mishra _2107. So wherever you are comfortable, you can connect with me and let me know what are the problems you are facing related to your preparation, and yeah, I shall try my best to just discard those problems. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for watching. See you soon in the next session. Bye bye, take care, study well. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.